Alright, with the folks here, Bull Mugs 1205 numbers after the name of little games. Beating action over here, a little Super Metroid action right here. Y'all already know how we be is doing, man. Popped over the Super Nintendo Classic over here, decided to play this, man. I don't know, I was in the mood for a Metroidvania kind of game. This was like before like Bloodstain came out and stuff. And I was like, well, why don't we play the whole Metroid side of that? Like, we haven't like really had an opportunity to do that. So I popped it in. I played through, just to give you a little history, I played through Super Metroid pretty far into the game once. I don't want to say I probably got like 70% into the game. And then I think I went on vacation or work started. Something happened. This was like years ago. I think I was actually still in college when this happened. I guess I could tell that story too. But something happened, I couldn't like finish it. I just like ended up playing like a different game. It was I came back to it and I was completely lost. I had no clue what I was doing. And there's nothing worse than like not playing a video game for like a long period of time and then coming back to it and just being like, oh, like I can't do it. I have no idea where I'm at or what I'm doing. Like, what the hell's happening over here? And in college, I actually got a copy of Super Metroid. I mean, I heard it was great my whole life, blah blah. I didn't have it. I really only had like 10 or 11 like Super Nintendo games like growing up, and this wasn't one of them. And we went to a store. It was called Embassy Vinyl. It was a little bit off, like a couple streets off from where I went to school at. And they mainly sold like CDs and like records and stuff, even like cassette tapes and whatnot. So we'd go there to pick up music and stuff. This is, you know, pre-Spotify, pre-iTunes day. I guess iTunes was around, but no like iTunes Store, no like, you know, Spotify, none of that stuff. It was like blowing up. And they ended up having like a small video game section there, and mainly they would have just like sports games that you'd see. It's like, hey man, $2 for like Madden 02, hey, $2 for like NHL 99, stuff like that. But one day I looked over there and I was like, yo, is that Super Metroid real quick? Picked it up and it was $5. And I was like, oh! And I remember just grabbing that copy, giving the $5 and be like, thank you very much. And I just walked out before anybody even questioned. I was like, before they throw like a zero before that, I was like, yo. So clearly they weren't 100% sure what they were selling with that. And I managed to cop it and I played it for a while, and unfortunately I fell off. And I haven't really played it since. And I sat down and I was like, kind of in the mood with this. I had some time. Let's see what's happening over here. So, I liked Super Metroid. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very good. Graphically, I think it's very impressive, especially for the time. Gameplay-wise is where I have a slight little issue and hiccup with it. Mainly in the kind of whole grappling hook area. That's kind of like the one that I just didn't really vibe with. The double jump, the space jump is a little bit awkward sometimes how it plays out, but it's okay, it's fine, I have no problem with it. I think overall it plays well. You kind of have to get used to it and master it a little bit, but sometimes I would kind of just hit the jump button and know what happened. I'd be like, alright, that's a little bit weird, but whatever. You could, the space jump is so like redeemable that you can just kind of do it again and again and again and eventually hit what you want to hit. The grapple hook though, and I mean there's some sections of the game where you do need to grapple like 4, 5, 6 times in a row to get to like a place. I just found it so poor, and I try to put it into context on how it was at the time, and it's one of these games when I review like retro games, I almost want to give it 2 different grades, like the grade at the time, the grade now. The grade at the time would be like a 9.5, like it would be like almost a 10, like I mean it's amazing. The grade now though is like an 8.5, like a kind of up to a 9, something like around there, just because like some of these mechanics just don't like hold up as well, and mainly the grappling hook. I had a lot of beef with the grappling hook. I didn't find it enjoyable. I just didn't. I like the concept of it, but the execution was a little bit on it. Everything else though about the game is amazing. There's really nothing else to like kind of like harp on. That was kind of my one little big negative because it affects a lot of areas, but everything else about the game is amazing. Technically amazing. Graphics still hold up to this day, which is why I love playing Super Nintendo games, man, because they like still hold up so well to this day. I don't even know what else. Sounds, the music is great. That first like theme you come, I can't remember now. When you go to Brinstar, I think is the first place you go to. It is amazing. It's got like a little jungle vibe to it. I love it. All the songs are kind of like iconic at this point, like in terms of Metroid. Gameplay-wise, the upgrade system and kind of that. It is pretty weird though. Sometimes you get like pivotal ass upgrades in like random spots that you never would think about. I think I got. I don't think I got the spring. There's like a spring boost thing that I think I didn't get. I kind of looked afterwards and I felt like I had everything, and I was like, oh, I missed that one thing. All right. So there's a couple like things you could miss and not pick up. I forget. I don't know if I show the completion bonus here, but I think I completed like 70 or 80% of the stuff that I could have done, which I was pretty happy with. I wasn't really using any guides or anything throughout the whole thing. I think once I looked up where I had to go just because I was a little bit confused, and it's one of those games where you kind of have to figure out where to go, and most things kind of flow pretty seamlessly. You kind of know, or you remember. You're like, all right, I got the screw attack. I'll be able to like do this, or I got the gravity boots. I could be able to do that, or I got a morph ball, and I'll be able to like do that. But sometimes, like especially, I probably beat it over the course of like maybe like a week or two. Sometimes you take like 3 or 4 days off. You'll kind of go back and look at the map and be like, so where was I again? And where was I supposed to go? Like, what the hell was supposed to happen? And there was even like a pretty, I remember too in Norfair, like the lowest parts of Norfair in order to get to like Ridley and stuff. Like you had to, it was like kind of a little bit obscure, like where you had to go through and stuff. And it was funny though, because I imagine, I don't know how much it'll stick for me next time, but if I were playing this as a kid, I would have just kept playing and trying whatever, and I would have loved it. It's just, that's why like I want to give these things almost 2 grades. Like kid Marcos, who had no responsibilities, and his main responsibility was like beat Super Metroid and get like good grades in class. Like I would have just kept playing and like found it awesome to try to figure out like where the exit is and what that. Working Marcos, who like works like all the time and like just likes to detox a little with some video games sometimes, he doesn't really necessarily want to like have to look for the exit to like a part of a map for like 45 minutes and then be like, damn, I still don't know where the hell it is. But you can always walk through it or whatever, and that's kind of like, that's up to your prerogative. I try to use walkthroughs as little as possible. I still try to do it naturally and organically as we would back in the day. But they're there, and I mean, there's really no point. There's no like, I don't know. It's a matter of entertainment. It's a matter of having fun. That's kind of what I come to at some point. Like even when like sometimes in a game I don't want to use a walkthrough, I'll be like, all right, well listen, I could either keep having more fun and use this walkthrough, or I could just keep beating myself like against the wall over here and not have as much fun, which is not like what you want to do. You want to, have the whole fun thing. So overall, Super Metroid, man, if you're into like the Metroid formula, if you're into kind of the Metroidvania type thing, I would definitely suggest playing this game. It's really, really good from top to bottom. The grappling parts suck, but maybe you could get the mechanic better than I can, and then it wouldn't even suck, because maybe it's just me that I just was not good with the mechanics. I mean, that's very possible, and that might be the case. But Super Metroid is pretty damn good, man. Just the Super NES Classic, man, is just packed with this fire.